Okay. Is it good?
Okay, hello everyone. I think we could be live. Let's see where this is all going. Okay, hi. I've got Nora and I've got Haylette and I've got Elsa, and I know that others are going to be coming in and watching on the Facebook page. So Natasha Giles here, obviously from the Do It Pure, you know, you're on my page, so great to have you with us. So Nora, where are you coming in from tonight?
I'm coming in from Groblersdal, Limpopo.
Awesome. Haylette, where are you coming in from?
Okay, I'm from Barberton, Mpumalanga.
Fantastic. Elsa, where are you coming in from?
Cape Town.
Wonderful. Awesome stuff. Yep. So we've got a couple of us around the country here, and really great to be able to chat tonight. And so our intention is to really talk about essential oils, the top 10 oils that most of us are using on a pretty much a regular basis. Okay. And we're going to be able to talk about, you know, how easy it is to use them, the different ways that we use them, you know, how one can actually get them. We're going to talk about some really cool things about essential oils. All right. So as I start off tonight, I just want to kind of like share a little bit of my story with you. So back in 2014, I was having some hormonal issues in that. Okay. And come 2015, and I'm really battling, and I'd been to the gynae, and, you know, she'd said, well, obviously, you know, at that stage of life, you need to be put onto, you know, hormone replacement therapy. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And she goes, well, you're not going to get a golden medal at the end of all of this, you know. I'm like, I know, but I don't want to do that. So anyway, I thought, no, I'm going to find natural things in that. But I didn't really know what I was actually going to do. I was just like, fine, okay. And then my amazing friend Daphne, so basically in the January, you know, we'd been doing a little bit of prayer and fasting and that, and God said to me, you're going to go healthy this year. And I'm like, what? What do you mean healthy, you know? So, I mean, I'm thinking I'm pretty healthy. He goes, well, number one, you're going to start to drink water. And I'm like, water? I don't like water. And anyway, so yeah, I switched out to some water instead of all the fruit juices. And then come February, Daphne in Canada, now we'd obviously met at Bible school and that previously, and she messaged me, she says, hey, I've got this Facebook page. Would you like to join it? I'm like, sure. Okay, no problem. I have no clue what it's about, right? And so I joined her page and I start to find out about essential oils. I'm like, what? I have no clue what essential oils are. My experience many, many years ago when we were in the States was somebody had given me tea tree. And I remember smelling it and going, I definitely don't like it. My body was like, no, 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 no. I said, thank you very much. I can't even remember what it was for, but thanks, but I'm really not interested. And so I said, sure, okay. I looked at all the stuff, and, you know, Americans love to ask questions and that, okay? So people are asking Daphne questions and that. And so I thought, hey, here we go. You know, I've got nothing to lose. So I asked her, I said, hey, Daphne, you know, maybe you have something for me. And so she says, well, you know, what's wrong? What are your symptoms in that? So I tell her what's happening. I'm really battling to walk. My emotions are like this, you know, but I'm really, really battling to walk in that. And she says, well, you know, what do they say? So I say, well, it's hormone related and that. So she said, well, okay, guess what? Her and I and a whole team of us are going to Zimbabwe on a mission trip. So she says, so I'm going to bring 2 oils out for you. So she brings me Claricalm. Okay, the woman's blend. Anybody tried Claricalm? Amazing stuff. Okay, so yeah. Claricalm she brings to me, and she brings me Serenity. Okay, the restful blend. So I start to use it, and one thing leads to the other, and bang, here I am. You know, 7 years later, absolutely loving the essential oils, and really have gone so natural on so many things. In actual fact, you know, I've kind of like ditched and, you know, done the whole ditch and switch thing. Okay, so really awesome stuff in there. So yep, that's pretty much my journey, how I got started. Anybody want to just maybe share how, you know, are you using essential oils currently, ladies? You know, maybe how you got started. Anybody want to, you know, let us know what happened to you, how you got started? Elsa.
I started with peppermint. I was invited Well, I wasn't invited actually. doTERRA was had requested to use our coffee shop, and I had such a headache, and I took quite a lot of medication for getting rid of headaches. And then Louise had, the lady who was running the workshop, had said to me, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I've just got a headache." She said, "Try some of this." She put some of this oil on my palm and she said, "So take some of this and try it." And oh my goodness, within 20 minutes, I looked over at her and I just said, "What was that?" It was amazing. Something that normally would take days of getting rid of a headache really was such a game changer. So that was my introduction, peppermint. I love it.
Awesome. Fantastic. Nora, do you have a story?
Yeah, just my mother gifting a little box of oils to me. It was a small beginner's kit or starter kit, and just starting to learn slowly. It was a very slow process at the beginning, but learning how to use them. And instead of opting to go to the pharmacy, I first looked it up. If I have the oil, I would use it. If I didn't have the oil, I would go to the pharmacy. But it was a process of working with the oils first and then opting for Western medications secondly, and just seeing the difference and the changes. And it was really awesome, especially with our seasonal threats and things like that in our area. Was really, really wonderful.
Brilliant. Awesome stuff. So thanks, Mom, and thanks, Louise, there. Hey, Let, do you have a story? How did you get started? What happened for you?
Okay, yeah, well, all of our stories are completely different because I actually also met the same lady that introduced you to the oils, Daphne, but I meant better like on a YouTube video, and then reached out to her and she told me all about the oils, and I was really so fascinated by what I heard. And well, received my kit, actually didn't take the effort to learn much about them, so they pretty much were standing on a shelf for about 2 years until I really had an eye-opening experience with 5 oils: frankincense, lemon, on guard, oregano, and tea tree. And yeah, that changed it all for me. I just realized at that point that there must be a lot more to these oils that I'm actually knowing, and that's where I started changing everything. For now, what we're doing, we only have our chest of oils, and that is our medicine cabinet.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's pretty much, certainly the 4 of us that are on here, but I know others that are joining us on the Facebook page and that. So, if you're joining in on Facebook, we'd love you to actually comment. So right now, I actually cannot see who's on Facebook, all right? But I do know that, we'll have some other people on Facebook for us, helping us out. And so comment, give us your name, where you're coming in from, maybe who invited you to, to just chat with us tonight. And then right at the end, I'm going to ask a question. All right. So you kind of might need to be on this whole thing. And then we're going to be gifting a 5 ml wild orange. Okay. So we'll finish up and then we'll go back and read over the comments and all that kind of thing. And whoever answered the question first, then will actually be sent a 5 ml wild orange. So, yeah, that's what we want to do tonight. Just, have some fun. So when I start off here, I just want to say to you that, I'm not a doctor. Ladies, are you doctors over here?
No.
Okay, so we're just we're just everyday moms, who've chosen to take the natural route in that. But what I do love is I don't have to be a doctor, because what is amazing is that doTERRA actually partner with doctors. They've got a whole medical panel and a medical board, and there's universities and hospitals and all that kind of stuff, and they've got a whole panel of scientists, and they're doing all of that for us. I don't need to have, kind of like be the doctor, and all of us actually have a God-given intuition, really. But sadly, so often we've kind of like just relinquished all, the stuff that our grandparents grew up with and all of that, we kind of like just relinquished it over and said, oh, well, I don't need to think about what I need to actually be doing. I just kind of like will go. And I want you to say right at the beginning that we're definitely not against doctors. Okay. We love doctors. Okay. There's definitely a time and a place for a doctor and, modern medicine and that kind of stuff, So But what I do want to say is that what I love about it is that we can actually, turn to our natural things first, maybe just look up in a little booklet or whatever, but also listen to our God-given intuition, because actually I think we do really know what we needed to look at, so it's amazing that we actually have these options. But yes, if we feel that this is really not working out for us, maybe we can then go, and find out, get an opinion, and then take it from there. So we're certainly not against doctors or anything like that. Okay, I just want to get that out there clear, and as we're chatting tonight, I want to make it also clear that, essential oils, are not there to treat, cure, that kind of thing. They're actually there to come in and support your body. God created your body so beautifully that, it's actually supposed to, renew itself, that kind of thing. Now, we all know that there are so many environmental threats, toxins that are around us, all that kind of stuff, and our bodies aren't necessarily functioning as they really should. The beautiful thing about essential oils is that they're going to come in and they're actually going to support your body in that whole process. Your body's going to heal itself. Okay, so we're not in any way making any health claims here. We're just going to share experiences and then just obviously talk about some oils and take it from there. All right, so as we start off tonight, I want to actually say to you, that there are 3 really cool things about essential oils. And, we're talking about doTERRA's essential oils here. I'm not talking about any of those ones that maybe are out in the store and whatever, that kind of thing. We know and we've trusted doTERRA essential oils. Okay. So the first thing is that they are actually safe. All right. doTERRA's essential oils are 100% pure, natural. There's nothing, added, that kind of thing. It's actually literally just from the plant like that. They've either been cold pressed or steam distilled, that kind of thing. Okay. So if you're going to be using them correctly, and we'll share about how the uses and that kind of thing, there are really no side effects. Okay. And they're not addictive. Now, the crazy thing is we often say, hey, I am addicted, because I love them. When your body just benefits so much by something, all right, that is absolutely natural, why not continue just to use it, because your body's just going to be able to function so much better when you are using all the natural things in that. So yeah, so essential oils, I don't know who's watching, what your knowledge is on essential oils, but really they're extracts from plants with amazing health benefits. So they're either from the bark, the root, the stem, the leaves, the fruit. Okay, so like your citrus ones are actually from the rind of the fruit, so that's where your therapeutic benefits in that are. Okay, and we all are cooking with herbs and that kind of thing, so our bodies are really actually so in tune with nature and herbs and that kind of thing. But the amazing thing is that essential oils are actually 50 to 70 times more powerful than herbs. So that's really incredible. So really true, when we look at the things, we go, wow, we're actually going to use so much less. And, doTERRA's essential oils are what we call CPTG. Now, there was never a standard in essential oils. So pretty much, anybody could say, hey, this is 100% pure, but there was never a standard. doTERRA came in and said, no, we're going to actually set a standard. We're going to raise a standard. And so we have what we call certified pure, tested grade essential oils. Now, what does that mean? Okay, pretty much they have to go through a battery of tests, like about minimum 54 tests. They're going to be done externally, they're going to be done internally, and but doTERRA is going to make sure that nothing goes out without it actually meeting the CPTG standard. So there's not allowed to be any pesticides used. The soil is got to have no, heavy metals, no contaminants. There's got to be no fillers, nothing in it. So they're testing it right from the soil all the way through, taking it through, even when it gets back to them, everything. It's incredible, the testing that goes through. Okay, and I can't go into all those details, but we talk about safety. What I love about it is that we can actually use it, with I'm, what do we say, middle age, that but you can use it with the elderly. You can use it with the elderly, you can use it with babies because of the purity of the oil. Okay, and we'll also talk about dilution and all that kind of thing in a couple of minutes, but that's the beautiful thing about it. So I just want to kind of like take peppermint oil, for example. Okay, now I'm just going to make sure I've got my peppermint oil right here handy with me. So peppermint oil, okay, literally this is just So potent, all right. 1 drop of doTERRA's peppermint oil is equivalent to 28 cups of peppermint tea. Pretty potent, okay? So literally, if you take a drop like this, so, you know, the ladies are going to show you as well, because, hey, we want, you know, you to know that this is really safe. And we're talking about safety. And I wanted you to say this, you know, we're not going to be talking about any other essential oils outside there. We're talking about doTERRA's essential oils, okay? So we're going to take a drop like this on the palm of our hand, okay? And then we're going to take our finger like this, and then we're going to put it on the roof of our mouth, okay? And then just open your mouth a little bit, breathe in. Wow, absolutely incredible. You know what you can do then is you can just rub it gently, and then we're going to cup and inhale, okay? Just make sure you don't get this in your eyes, okay? Cup and inhale. You're breathing it in.
It's divine.
I mean, also, you know, you spoke about how, you know, those tension
This
things.
is my go-to.
Yeah, you know, you put on the back of your neck. This is amazing, you know, particularly if you're having a bit of those hot flashes, a little bit of a tingling, cooling feeling, okay? But really, this is going to open up, you know, your sinuses. It's going to be really energizing. So, hey, ladies, you know, make sure we're not having too much before we go to sleep tonight. It's very energizing. It's going to cool the body. And yeah, it's going to relieve those tension, you know, headaches and that kind of thing. You know, if we put it on the side of our temples, recently, at the beginning of the month, you know, had a little bit of headache, and I don't normally have, but literally I put a little bit of peppermint on the side of my temple, back of my neck here, a couple of minutes, it's all gone. So really, you know, that's just, but I wanted to show you the safety of doTERRA's essential oils. You know, we put these in smoothies, we do a whole lot of things with them, okay? So what we're talking about, first of all, the safety. Then let's talk about the effectiveness of essential oils. So, you know, essential oils can actually be more effective than modern medicines, because what happens is that essential oils actually work on a cellular level, all right? So they are actually going to get in to the cell, and they're going to actually help your body to fight off any, you know, environmental things out there or any bacteria, that kind of stuff. So it's really amazing how that can actually work, because of the fact that they're, you know, penetrating that cell and then giving the body the boost that it needs. Because oftentimes, you know, if we're taking stuff for bacteria and that kind of thing, what's going to happen is it's going to kind of like just go and lie dormant, and then later on it'll pop up again. But with an essential oil, it's actually going to get in there. 2 essential oils that are really great, and we can share stuff later on with you in that. Just 2 essential oils that are actually going to help that bacteria to actually pop open, and what they call it lysing, okay? It actually creates it to pop open, and it's actually tea tree and oregano. And if you want to share more, you know, chat about that later on, we can do that. But those are just 2 things, you know, that can help you. But On Guard is what we classify as doTERRA's protective blend. Okay, I don't know if you can see this, On Guard. So inside here, there's clove, there's rosemary, there's wild orange, there's cinnamon, there's eucalyptus. Did I leave out anything, ladies? This really is amazing, because actually it helps, you know, it promotes your healthy, you know, immune function. So it smells amazing as well. All right. And it soothes. You can actually apply it, you know, topically, or else you can even gargle with it. It actually soothes a sore throat. Let me tell you that, you know, for so long before we had any other of doTERRA's products, we'd be actually cleaning our home with this stuff, you know, put some vinegar and water, cleaning the home with it, just really, and the smell is amazing. So, but really it's so effective, a couple of drops, and, you know, you're going to actually tell the difference in this kind of thing. So effectiveness is the second cool thing. And then affordability. So we all know and how much medicine costs. I mean, everything is pretty pricey out there right now. Okay. But medicine is really expensive. Perhaps, you know, you've got to make the doctor's appointment. What does a doctor's appointment cost you nowadays? Anybody know? I haven't been to a doctor for so long. I don't know what they cost.
I think it's 5, but anything from 5 onwards.
Yep. You know,
Yeah, I had a customer yesterday who said she paid $860.
Right,
Wow.
right. In 2020, I was doing some classes around the country, and I actually had some doctors and some nurses with me. And so I asked that question, and the lady said, well, you know, actually, yeah, we charge like, you know, $650, $850. I was like, what? And she goes, you know, that's what we need to charge. I said, oh, okay, all right. And then, of course, I do know that during, the last couple of years when we were all in lockdown and that kind of thing, sometimes people would call the doctor and they would have a couple of minutes Zoom call and be charged 600 Rand. Okay, that's just before you've got any medicine and that kind of thing, okay? So, when you break down the cost of what essential oils actually are, it really is very, very affordable because, if you take lavender, for example, okay, lavender is all calming. It's, great for the skin. It's also great, those seasonal threats out there. Nora, you were talking about that in your, where you are at. What are you using for those seasonal threats?
Lavender.
Right. Anything else? Probably those three.
Lemon.
Yeah, exactly. All right. But literally, when you take a drop of lavender, okay, now I don't have the charts here and that kind of thing, but, just I've heard of situations and I've had it personally, I've battled with an earache. Okay. And so what did I do? I took a drop of lavender and I took a drop of tea tree just on my hand. And then obviously you don't put it in your ear or anything like that. Okay. Just around the ear, down the bone and just down here. Literally, I've done it like, probably did it 3 times. And then I realized, hold on a sec, actually, this is related to my tooth. Then I use clove inside there or the On Guard. But literally, for less than 5 Rand, you're actually treating yourself. And so when I say treating yourself, bear in mind now, I don't want to say treating, curing. That's not the wording really I should have been saying. But, you're actually assisting your body in getting itself to where it's fighting off those things that it needs to, do. So really from an affordability perspective, honestly, essential oils, when you break them down, and the fact that I'm not just going to use this once and then have to throw it away. It's going to be able to be used for so many different things. I have it in the kitchen. Sometimes if I'm cooking and, something happens on the stove, I'm going to grab my lavender. It's my Swiss Army knife. Out there and walking in the sun, I'm going to use it like that. So yeah, affordability is incredible. Does anybody, have maybe something that they want to share about what has it actually done for them?
I can definitely share on that one. For me and my family, we have definitely seen a huge difference in our medical aid. I mean, we do have a medical aid. I'm very grateful for that. It's a hospital plan with a savings side to it. And when we were not using the essential oils, by October, it was exhausted, the savings side of things. And then, any medicine after that would come out of our own pocket. And it would, once that savings is depleted, it really hurts your weekly budget. But since starting the essential oils and using them quite regularly, daily, we've definitely seen a change in how often we go and visit the doctor. I mean, it's really not often at all. I think we've been once, each one of us, and I've got 4 people in my family, we've all been once to the doctor since probably about 4 to 5 years ago. And it's because of things that we couldn't really fix, or not fix, but support ourselves with the essential oils. My son had a spider bite that really wasn't clearing up well. And my daughter hyperextended her finger that needed some extra attention, that type of thing. So we've really saved a lot, and we've got surplus on our savings side of our medical aid now, and we're being able to use that in different ways. So it's been great.
Right. Absolutely. Now I heard just somebody was saying the other day that they're saving like 4,000 Rand a month on the medical aid because they're using the essential oils, that they haven't had to go. So yeah, absolutely. So I know personally, we've saved thousands upon thousands of Rands. So, for literally, when you breaking it down, it is so cheap, honestly. And the fact how versatile it is, that you can use it for so many different things. It's awesome. Yeah. So those are the 3 cool things, that they're safe, they're effective, and they are affordable. Okay. When you break it down. So let's talk about the 3 different ways that we can use doTERRA's essential oils. Okay. So the first way would be aromatically. Okay. So what you could do is, you could get a diffuser like this, and you put the water in. It's an ultrasonic thing, and then you put your oil in there, and it's actually going to be a mist, and it's going to be diffusing like that. Now that's going to really benefit your body, because I'm not really sure if but basically what will happen is it's going to actually get into your the olfactory, glands. It's going to then get into your limbic system, and literally it's actually going to be able to uplift your mood. There's just so much that can happen aromatically, and obviously, just it's going to permeate all your cells, because it's going to actually even be absorbed, through your skin and that kind of thing. So honestly, if we take, for example, wild orange. Where's my wild orange? We take wild orange. Now this would be my sunshine in a bottle. Okay, it's pretty much, when we were still having to wear masks, man, I would just be putting it in the inside of my mask, because man, you could be breathing it in that way. Okay, but aromatically, you put it in the diffuser, it's going to really be, so uplifting and energizing, and just your whole home is going to be changed by it. Okay. The other one that we would do like that aromatically, perhaps, there's just a myriad of oils that you can be doing, but we're talking about the top 10. So Breathe, which is doTERRA's respiratory blend, great way, to be using it aromatically like that. You could also just be smelling it from the bottle. You could be putting a drop in your hand, rubbing your hands together. It's going to be cleansing the air. It's just going to be absolutely amazing. So aromatically would be the first one that, that you could be doing like that. Anybody, do that and had any benefits?
Oh, I definitely do. I mean, not only for myself, related to sleep, having a diffuser next to my bed and breathing that in during the night helps me not only fall asleep, but to sort of stay asleep. And I stop waking up in the middle of the night. I used to hate that, just waking up for no reason. But using it with my daughter, helping her with, just calming, something as simple as a lavender or an adaptive oil, some calming, grounding oil that just, also uplifts and cheers, has a good effect on the mind and the mood. So definitely benefits of the aromatic on itself.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and that's it, because and let's face it, there's so many toxins around us as well. And so, when you're diffusing things, aromatically in that, it's actually going to then help to get rid of all those toxins that are around us, those things, those threats that are around us as well, like even on guard, just, diffusing it like that. So yeah, so aromatically is the first way. Topically, okay, so I'm not sure, who's listening and whatever, if you maybe later on, but your skin is your largest organ. So oftentimes, people don't realize that how much they're actually absorbing, how many toxins they're absorbing. And, on an average, women are using about 168 chemicals on their body daily. Staggering, okay? So it's literally going in, and it's going to then impact your whole body, all right? So we have to think about this and think, well, what are we putting on us? Because a lot of those things, can actually mess up our hormones and goodness knows what all, okay? So topically, it's really a great way to actually use the oils. One could use a carrier oil, okay? So this would also be great as a dilution for babies, for elderly, people with, fair skin, even redhead, that kind of thing. It is actually, my husband is very sensitive, so he's got to dilute. The other thing, what happens is, if you are applying it to an area and using the carrier oil and then putting the essential oil on, then it's going to actually help it to absorb, that slower actually releasing into your body like that. But also it's going to help if your skin is a bit more sensitive, using a carrier oil first, or, even putting it into a roller ball and then, using it, adding the oils in and then putting the carrier oil in is a really great way to use it topically, okay? And even, with the carrier oil, you want to be able to, spread it more. And so that's just going to be able to help. So Deep Blue, for example, is doTERRA's soothing blend. Now, this is really great. If you've got any joints that are feeling a little bit uncomfortable after you've been exercising, or even actually even before exercising, to kind of like just stimulate and to actually support your body so that when you're doing those stretches, or going walking or whatever it is, that your body is already getting supported. So Deep Blue is really great for that. It's also great when sometimes people are battling really severe tension things. You put the Deep Blue on your fingers and you just massage it into your head. That's also a great way, okay? Then we have Zengest, which is doTERRA's digestive blend. Now, this is another great one for topically. You apply it on your tummy, around your belly button. That's really great. You can also, just I sometimes will just smell it, and then I'll check about the third way in a couple of minutes. But there are so many ways that you can just actually be, applying the oils topically and that kind of thing. So Zengest, it's really great, to help after dinner. Maybe you've had something spicy, or maybe it's just been too rich or whatever. Just applying Zengest on your tummy is a really great way to actually benefit from it. Then, does anybody have a story about topical use, how they benefited from it?
Yes, Natasha, I definitely have a story. On Monday, I had this unfortunate accident when I fell on some stairs.
Ouch.
And yeah, apart from the embarrassment, because it was in town, I think that wasn't nearly as bad as the pain afterwards. So for those achy muscles and joints, I definitely used my D-Blue, you just referred to, the soothing blend. But I also used some other oils, that are not part of the top 10 oils, like, for instance, the massage blend. And I really applied those to, all the places that were sore, my knees, my elbows, my wrists, everything. And I had a terrible headache after this whole incident. So obviously I had to use, some relief oils to relieve that as well. But yes, it just worked so wonderfully.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just amazing how beneficial the essential oils are, and the fact that your whole body is actually being impacted. So something just to share, that when we or maybe I'll just go on to the next one first, and then I'll go back quickly. So the third cool way that we can use doTERRA's essential oils, and again, just a reminder that we're only talking about doTERRA's essential oils, okay, because of the absolute purity about them, is that we can actually use them internally. What people will say, yes, you can use them internally, all right. And I know that there's often, there's this big controversy that you can't. No, you can use them internally, all right. So how would you do it? So for example, lemon, okay. This is from the rind of the lemon. Basically, you can put a drop in some water like this. Whoops, I got more than one drop inside there, but hey, not a problem. I'm going to take it internally. Lemon is very cleansing. All the citrus oils are very cleansing, very uplifting. Again, it's going to help just your whole mood and that kind of thing. Cleaning your home. Oh my goodness me. I make a furniture polish and use lemon and that kind of stuff. It's amazing, glass cleaner, the whole thing and that. Okay. But the other way that you can do it is that you can get a veggie capsule. Maybe you don't like the taste of the oil, get a veggie capsule, and you can just open the veggie capsule. Can you see that? You open the veggie capsule and you pop your oil inside there. So, we would make what we call flute, and we would take frankincense, lemon, oregano, on guard, and tea tree, pop it in. So I personally do 5 drops of each of them, but only 3 of the oregano. Pop it inside here. It does take 2 capsules, and then be taking it as a great immune booster. I was doing that at the beginning of the month. Anytime I kind of just feel anything slight coming on, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, we call that flute. So it's a great immune booster. The other way is that you can actually take, for example, frankincense. Now there's other oils, but frankincense, for example, which is a great cellular renewal. Basically you can take it like this and pop it under the tongue. All right. You can also take it and you can put it on the roof of your mouth. What happens here, it actually impacts the brain. And you can go and have a look on a site, the medical site called PubMed, okay, and go and Google and do some research on frankincense and how it actually breaks through the blood-brain barrier and how it can actually impact and help support your body. You can also apply it on the back of your neck. Yep, it's really great. So that, it's amazing how you can actually use them. So essential oils are going to impact your body. So literally within 22 seconds, it's going to have impacted your brain. Within 2 minutes, it's going to have impacted your bloodstream. So if you're putting it, sublingually, it's going to get your bloodstream really quickly. Within 20 minutes, your whole body would have actually been impacted by essential oils. Isn't that amazing? And you're using such a small amount, which is really absolutely awesome. I'm not sure if anybody wants to share their internal how it's benefited, themselves. So I've just said how I use it with flute, and it's been amazing. You're welcome to share, ladies, if you feel like you have anything else to add there.
Well, I do. I have a lot of sort of inflammation inside, and I use copaiba and I use turmeric, and I found that those really, really help me. Not only if I put them on my joints when I get sore joints, but when I take it internally as well, the benefit is really great. Yeah.
Awesome. No, absolutely. That's just, it's amazing. And when you're using them over time, it's incredible how you'll actually begin to notice. And sometimes you might forget to do things, and then you go, oh wow, okay, now it's now you can tell the difference. So one of doTERRA's foundational things, and I'm just going to touch on this, okay, one of doTERRA's really foundational products, and it's not yet in South Africa, but we are so close to getting it here, is actually the Lifelong Vitality. All right. And I've had the privilege of being able to use them for 6 years. And it's one of those things, again, that when you don't have it, and then you realize, wow, my body actually is really needing this stuff. So we'll teach a lot more on this soon. But yeah, I just want to touch on this. This is a really great thing, foundational. It's a whole food-based supplement, and it's really, the benefits of it is incredible. But even if you don't have that, just by using the essential oils, like I said, I have somebody who was sharing recently who's had an incredible just reduction on her medical aid, and Nara and everybody else you've also shared with that. So yep, absolutely amazing. So what I want to now just touch on is, like, how do you get these into your home? So there's pretty much 3 ways that you can get them in. The first is going to be the most expensive, and I will definitely not recommend it to you, but if you really choose to, sure, you can. It's called retail. Okay. And as I say, it's the most expensive. And, maybe if you're going into a professional setting, you might, because let me tell you that a lot of doctors and are actually switching to natural things. They're offering an alternative and saying to somebody, would you like to go natural? Would you like, the other medication and that? And so some people are choosing that. So you might find that a doctor might have, the essential oils in his rooms, and then you might purchase it from him. Okay. I mean, I had a situation, friends of ours, a couple of years ago, went into a medical situation, and the doctor there said to her, hey, I want to actually recommend lavender and serenity to you. This was overseas. And he didn't know that her mom actually was one of doTERRA's top ranking people. And basically she laughed. She said, oh, my mother's going to love you. Don't worry. I have it at home already. Sure, I'll take it. She'd actually pretty much forgotten about it, etc. And that, she wasn't at home at the time. And so, yep, he then, but perhaps could have bought it from him directly, on a retail basis. The other way, and pretty much what we all do, okay, is that you get actually a wholesale account. With a wholesale account comes really so many benefits, education, just ongoing resources that we can give you. doTERRA loves education. We love educating. And so it's the best way to really get your products. You're going to actually get them at 25% below retail. The best way to get them. Well, best way, actually, there's even one better way than that. And that would be that you actually do get that wholesale membership. And then it's a choice that you make. You're never forced to, but then actually where you purchase on a monthly basis. And with that, you then will start to earn some points that you can actually redeem for product. And again, man, I have saved thousands of rands on doTERRA's loyalty rewards program. A really fantastic way to get your products in. Okay. So, but that's the third way. So that's really wholesale plus is what we call it. All right. So let me just show you how we pretty much all start. And definitely what I would recommend that you would start with would be a kit like this. Okay. Now this is known as the Home Essentials kit. And it's got the top 10 oils in, and they are in 15 ml bottles. So there's like 250 drops inside here. Definitely the best value for your money. All right. There's the deep blue comes in a 5 ml. It is only in a 5 ml, but that's got about 80 drops in it. All right. So you're going to get this. You're also going to get a diffuser. And I know what I forgot, ladies. Oh, I want you to actually bring the oral collection and show it out, but I don't have it. Does anybody have one around? You also get a diffuser. Okay. With it, you get a lovely booklet that's, a doTERRA Essentials booklet. A really amazing kit. Okay. And that's 4,495 Rand. But honestly, it's the best value for your money. I would highly recommend it. Again, as I said to you, you're not just going to use it once. There's a myriad of things that you're going to use it for, and your family are going to benefit. It's kind of like going to help you supporting about 90% of the things that you know are dealing with on an everyday basis. The other one, a smaller one, now it's 1,500 Rand less, sure, is the Family Essentials Kit. And a lot of us started with that, okay, because maybe at the time when we started with doTERRA here in South Africa, they didn't have the bigger kit, okay. That's now, the bottles are in 5 ml, so there's like 80 drops inside there. You do get a 15 ml Smart and Sassy, the metabolic blend. That's the Family Essentials Kit. But honestly, if you compare, you know, these two, just, you know, again, if you're comparing these two oils, you know, that this one, I would definitely be saying to you, go for the Home Essentials Kit if you can, because it's 3 times the volume plus a diffuser. And what I want to say to you is that if you can get this before the end of July, you'll get an oral collection. And it's a limited time offer. I don't have it with me now, but you're going to get a new formulated toothpaste. You're going to get a what do you call it? The dental floss, you know, the dental floss, which is lovely. It's been dipped in the On Guard. And you're going to get a mouthwash. Absolutely love it. Fantastic. Really incredible. But that's only until Sunday. So we would need to obviously, you know, jump in quickly if you want to get that benefit in that. The other one is a smaller beginner's kit. It's got a deep blue rub, and it's got 5 oils in 5 ml bottles. I would definitely be telling you to add in a, you know, the 15 ml peppermint, you know, or a 15 ml breathe, because honestly, everybody's home needs that. Okay. It is a smaller kit, but honestly, for me personally, I would highly recommend that you go for that Home Essentials Kit. But again, you know, it's where people are at right now. We understand that sometimes we start small and then we add, etc., and that kind of thing. But if you're able to get that kit and you're able to start with it, you know, literally before Sunday, we also want to give you a gift and help you, you know, just as a thank you for being able to do that. You know, each one of us, we've got different things that we sometimes offer. So chat with us, and we'd love to be able to support you in your whole doTERRA journey, because it's just amazing. It becomes family. We love it. Everybody supports each other. You know, with these apps that we can share with you, resources, amazing. So those are the 3 starter kits that you could actually start with. There is another way, but really the best way is to get a kit, because honestly, doTERRA have packaged these kits that you can deal with like about 90% of your everyday things. Otherwise, you know, you're starting with a wholesale membership of 445 Rand, and then you're building your own kits and that. But really, when you've got that kit, a Home Essentials or a Family Essentials kit, there's so much that you can do with it. All right. So those are the 3 ways to purchase, and the 3 starter kits that we have right now. Basically, there are 3 ways that people will join doTERRA. Somebody just chooses to live doTERRA because, hey, you know, I want to change my lifestyle. I want to go more natural, and it will start gradually and then it'll build. So we call those people, those that want to just live doTERRA. Really great way, you know, you just want to make sure that your family's healthy, etc. and that. But I can tell you that so often when you start to just live it, you are so excited about the products and that kind of thing. You can't help yourself. You want to just share it. You know, it's like, you know, you get a new product in the home and you tell all your friends. How many of you like that? You can't keep it to yourself. All right. And certainly you can't keep doTERRA to yourself. You just want to be able to share it. And what you can do is you can actually, just by sharing, you can actually, doTERRA wants to reward you. So, you know, when you are a sharer, you'll probably be paying, you know, getting on a monthly order, so that you can actually in turn help to get your products paid, because doTERRA rewards you when you introduce somebody else, and you can be earning something that can help you then pay for your products. So that would be called a sharer. Maybe you're going to, you know, teach a couple of classes or introduce other people, but that's another great way. Otherwise, you will be a builder. And what that means is that you're actually going to say, hey, I want to be able to either supplement my income, or actually I want to, you know, replace any income that I might have had and want to actually do this as a full-time business. Really great way. Not here to tell you how much you can earn and that kind of thing. It's really an amazing business to be able to do. That's what I'm doing. Have loved the journey, and so thankful that, yep, you know, I'm a gold leader with doTERRA, and it's amazing to actually see how I started just by, you know, we couldn't get them in South Africa, but then I realized, hey, we can actually start to teach other people, and just by sharing and then by building, and now at the stage where, hey, I'm earning a great income with it. Really fantastic. So yeah, that's the 3 ways. You know, you choose your journey. We don't force it on you. You choose it, and we support you all along the way. All right. So, ladies, do you want to add anything here before we kind of like begin to wrap up? Anybody want to add something? Your journey, how it's been?
No, that is, well, just that it's a very supportive journey. It's not something that you're doing all on your own, unless you choose that, of course, you can. But there's a lot of education, there's a lot of support from your upline, from the person who enrolled you. And yeah, it's not an alone expedition.
Yep, for sure. You know, we've got oil camps that we take you on, you know, continued education. There are so many things that we help you know. So it's not just going to be that you actually just, you know, get your product and never be supported. We're going to support you in that journey, which is amazing. All right. So yeah, I think the last thing I want to really share with you is say to you, you know, if you maybe have got some health concerns that you would like to chat about, why don't you just send a WhatsApp to either myself on 083 552 0100, or go back to the person who invited you to be part of this tonight, and they're going to just maybe send you a couple of suggestions as to, you know, what oils might help you, etc., that kind of thing. So that would be, you know, the next thing to do. If you're ready to start a doTERRA journey with us, again, message us after this. We want to help you. All right, we're available to actually help you and to support you on this journey. So as we're wrapping up, reminder that we want to give somebody a 5ml wild orange. Okay, so a question I'm going to ask, and you need to put it in the comment section. And as I say, I have no clue right now who's there doing anything. We will then close this off, go back all through the comments and that. So the question I'm going to ask is, so tell me the 3 ways in which we can use doTERRA's oils. Pop it in the comment section, and at the end of it, we're going to go through it, and then one person's going to get chosen. We'll announce it on here, and then you can reach out to us, let us know your address, and we want to send it off to you. Awesome stuff. So hey, I trust that you found this very interesting, and we've just loved sharing tonight. And we're probably going to be coming on next week for something else. We won't talk about that yet. So I trust that you found this interesting, and yeah, you know, it's the most amazing journey. And as Nora said, you're not alone. We want to be able to support you. It's a great, you know, just a way to help each other. And even on the business side, you know, everybody's helping each other, supporting each other. So yeah, great Thursday evening to you all. Yeah, have a fantastic evening, and yep.
Bye everybody. Thanks for joining.
Catch you next time. Yep. Thanks for joining us. Have an awesome evening.
Be well.
All right then. Bye.